Yo guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering a healing build for where winds meet. Although nothing too complicated about the actual build, we're really going to dive into the mechanics of healing, some interactions with the fan and umbrella, and just go over the basics of how to heal efficiently and how certain things work. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's start with the most important thing. What is Dew? What does it do? And how do we get it? Dew is a custom resource used by the fan that is going to allow the use of a perception skill, basically an added bonus to the skills we are casting when we are either at max Dew or depending on how much Dew we have. The umbrella is mostly there for buffs, but also some bonuses to help us gain Dew. So what's the best ways to get Dew? We do gain Dew over time, but there are abilities that increase the rate from which you gain it. On the fan, Cloudburst is going to generate 20 Dew on use, and Emerald Dew Touch will also generate Dew on use. On our umbrella, using our dual weapon skill will generate up to 30 Dew over time, and Echoes of 1,000 Plants will generate up to 60 Dew over time. So Cloudburst and Emerald Dew Touch from the fan, dual weapon skill, and Echoes of 1,000 Plants from the umbrella are our Dew generators. What do these perception skills do? Well, first is going to be casting Cloudburst with our fan. We can cast Cloudburst at any point, but when we are at max Dew, in the AoE, we can recast to trigger the perception skill, which will then cast the Echoing Grow ability from our umbrella. That is the umbrella that hangs above you, that does the healing, but it has to be off cooldown. So once again, you cast Cloudburst at any amount of Dew, but to actually trigger this, you'll have to be at max Dew, recast the skill, and then if the umbrella skill is off cooldown, that will automatically cast. But if the umbrella skill is on cooldown and you are at max Dew with your little AoE circle out, when you cast again, and there's a very short window to do this, you will release a burst of healing to you and your teammates. Then we also have the ability to revive down teammates with the fan using our special skill, Light Dust After Morning Rain. This is a single target healing skill that will target the lowest HP teammate, but when cast with a down group member, it'll revive them, then restore HP depending on how much Dew you have. This revive is going to have a 30-second cooldown. Outside of healing, a very, very important skill on the umbrella is going to be Floating Grace. This is going to provide 15% increased damage for the whole party for 8 seconds, but has a 1-minute cooldown. I would suggest using this at the very start of combat, specifically with a boss, and then by the time you get the boss in its exhausted state, you should have this back up. You cannot cast this if you have the healing umbrella up, so you have to put that down or simply wait for that skill to be down to be able to use this ability. All right, so let's take a look at what we're running here. We are running the fan with the Soul Shade umbrella. Now, as I said, this martial arts skill, Cloudburst Healing, this is going to be your big AoE skill. That's going to do a ton of healing. But like I said, with your perception skill, you can recast this if you are at max Dew, which is then going to spawn the umbrella ability above you. But if the umbrella ability is on cooldown, you won't be able to get this again, but you could still do a big burst AoE of healing. Then Light Dust After Morning Rain. This is going to be a single target heal, a heal over time. This is also going to be how you revive people. It does have a 30-second cooldown, and then your Dew is going to depend on how much HP you give them upon a revival. Your dual weapon skill, when you switch weapons, you're going to restore HP for yourself and an ally over time. So this is a nice little heal if you need to get a quick one out while you're switching to your fan. And then your healing skill, which is going to be Emerald Dew Touch, and this is going to be great for restoring Dew. This is going to generate 3, 5, and 12 points of Dew, respectively. Now for our umbrella, we have Floating Grace. This is going to be the damage increase you're going to give your team of 15% for 8 seconds. Great to use at the start of a boss fight, and then when the boss is exhausted as well. This also does a heal. Then we have her R, which is going to be Echoes of 1,000 Plants. This is what puts the umbrella above you. It stays there, and this is going to increase your healing by 15%. You want to make sure this is pretty much always up, and it generates Dew over time up to 60. This is a great skill, and like I said, you are able to actually cast this with your Q ability, Cloudburst Healing, if you have max Dew and it's off cooldown. Then big thing here is going to be the dual weapon skill. When you switch, you deal damage. This increases your healing by 5% and generates Dew over a period of time up to 30, and that's a good amount of dew. Now, moving past our weapons, and basically the heart of builds on this game are going to be your inner ways. These are so important. This is Royal Remedy. This increases the healing effect of the water clone created by the fan martial arts skill Cloudburst Healing by 10%. And if you're with its range, you gain 1 dew each time when receiving healing over time. This is a must-have on your healing build. Morale chant, I feel like people are overlooking this. The uptime on this is basically constant, 100% uptime, and this is going to give you 5% bonus healing. Just really broken for DPS builds and healing builds. I would always have this on. And then Restoring Blossom during critical healing applies 1 stack of nurturing for 6 seconds, increasing healing received by 2 seconds up to 3 times. So that's a good way to put a buff on your teammates. That's going to increase the healing that they are getting. And then I do have Bitter Seasons on right now. I was testing this out. I feel like if possible, if a healer can use this and keep this up, this is a good defense strip. And then a DPS does not have to run this. If you have run this on a DPS in a bit of higher level content, you'll see that this actually ticks for like 8 to 10 damage a pop. Not something that you really want to have on as a DPS. If you do not want to run that, then Invigorated Warrior is going to be good for you. It's going to increase your healing by 5%. But if you get hit, this goes away. But it comes back. So as a healer, you're probably going to be sitting back in the fight most of the time, just casting skills and healing your teammates. So you should have pretty good uptime on this. Now for our Mystic skills, we're going with Dragon's Breath. This is great because it's going to give you a damage reduction and then also grant you Fortitude. And same thing with Lion's Roar. This is also going to give you a damage reduction and grant you Fortitude. Those are the two I basically go with. We're not really here to do damage, but if we can take less damage to make sure we're not going to die and then grant us Fortitude, I think those are 2 really good picks for a healer. Now, as far as gear, I really am not going to go too deep into this. For a set right now, I do have on the Form Bend set, which isn't horrible, good for survivability. I haven't really built into any sets just yet because, well, today we're about to go past the new level cap and we're going to get all new gear and we're going to keep doing that. So I'm trying not to spend too many resources, and I would suggest the same thing to you unless you just somehow don't care. But yeah, we have our Snow Shield fan, and then we have our Snow Shield umbrella. As far as your talent tree, I mean, mostly when you get towards the end, if you're really trying to be a healer main, then I'd probably suggest just taking physical defense and HP as much as you can before you start investing in other things like damage. Then just a quick PSA about the oddity vendor. There are 2 oddity vendors, and these are very important to know because they grant you a lot of power. There is the one at the start of the game, but just in case you're unaware, there's also this one at the top of the map over here. So there's 2 different sets of oddities you can collect for each map, and then 2 different vendors. So please be aware of that. These are very important to leveling up your power in this game. And that covers everything for this early healer guide. Any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments. Anything I missed, please let me know about it. I'm not a healer main. I just started doing it a couple of days ago and just been working on it and wanted to share what I've learned with everyone. I'm also live on Twitch daily. Link is in the description. We have a great community playing this game. So drop by chat shit, hang out. Happy to have you guys there. We're also running a guild with less than 20 spots left. We are very active and we'll be building this guild to the moon. So if you drop by chat, we can get you in. Other than that, like, subscribe is appreciated. Thanks, guys. Peace.